It has not been a good week. Now I know you're sitting there wondering, well, how the hell could that be? You're practically not doing anything.
Well, I wasn't exactly thinking that, but it's kind of shocking that you said that anyway.
Yes. It hasn't been a very good week starting from last week, really, into this week. It's been, that's where I want to look for. Quite depressing.
It was what?
Quite depressing. Okay. And it's depressing because it has been a week of sleeping. It's been a week of trying to fight sleepiness. Just like how you saw me a little while ago when you came home from work and it looked like that I had just woke up, when in fact I did. I have been fighting sleep for so long. I have been fighting tiredness for so long. And this has been going on for the second consecutive week now, where I would say I'm going to bed, lay in bed, and do not fall asleep till about 3-4 o'clock every morning. It has gotten to a point where I don't even get up early in the morning anymore to do the things I would normally do. My blogs. It's to a point where I've lost motivation to do it because all I've been doing is sleeping. Now, Friday, Saturday, and Monday, it's a different type of motivation. It takes coffee, caffeine coffee to do all that. But Sunday, I dread it. And Sunday really helped kick everything into high gear. I'm at a point where anxiety is almost further defined for me. I feel like the more I go to church on Sundays, the more depressed I get. I feel like at a point, I look at certain people at church, and I get to asking myself, am I really different from people in that church? Not to mentioning my own personal thoughts that run through my head, body shame. Upset at the fact that I'm 300 pounds. Upset at the fact that I'm not as proactive as I used to be. Upset at the fact that I am just not comfortable in my own skin. Because I feel like what I'm doing don't necessarily help anything or anybody. The fact that I have people that want me to do jobs that I don't want to do. Insurance sales, cleaning, customer service, things like that. Now, people would say that should make you feel somewhat emboldened, and it don't. Because it's the same thing I've been doing over the last few years. I no longer have interest in those things. So when I go and I think about myself not being active enough, I'm sitting here and doing these blogs. I'm sitting here and I'm doing this podcast. I'm doing my personal podcast. Oh, and which, by the way, congratulations on your podcast that you finally just got out yesterday. And I think he said, thank you, congratulations as well.
Yeah. And that's your dog, by the way.
Oh, I know who he is. Oh, trust me, I know who that is. I know who that is. Cause yo dog, he ain't a one-time barker. He's a howl.
Sure.
But I'm just not as active as I feel. And it gets me to a point where I question everything about me. Everything. No matter what it is, how I do it. Am I going to be successful at it? Taking risks to see if I can be better. And I just don't feel like I'm taking enough of it. Which is why I barely got anything done for Platform Talk. Because sometimes I think about, well, am I repeating myself? Am I getting to a point where withdrawing a lot of people away may be the right step, but am I drawing people away? Am I too critical? I mean, get to thinking about things. Get to thinking about some things. The last few podcasts I have watched to, get it edited, my own personal looks don't help anything. There is, for me, the lack thereof. Which was why I felt like I didn't even really want to prepare for Platform Talk. Sitting here wanting to talk about Jason Whitlock and cognitive dissonance, it's like, well, is it really worth it? I think it's worth it. But did I really want to prepare for it? No. Why? Well, one, who really cares? If people really cared, there would be so many people trying to make a difference. But not a whole lot of people not trying to make a difference. Not a whole lot of people are trying to understand racism. Now, I know I'm not supposed to be the one to try to make everything happen overnight. But you can see when you let Platform Talk and the things that were being said, because people are tired of hearing about racism, it made me wonder, is it worth talking about Jason Whitlock, cognitive dissonance, all because he is in denial of his own skin? Makes me wonder that. Do I really want to talk about Jason Whitlock? No, I don't. Didn't even want to prepare for it because I kept coming up. My inability to get out of bed. My inability to motivate myself to do the things I would normally do. Blogs. Reading. This was the first time I've actually read a book right before we started this podcast. And it's been over a week. And I tried reading this book as well. Sitting currently on page 6, the introduction. I would be a lot farther in my books by now. The lack thereof right now. That's just my thought process right now. That is what I have been going through since Monday of last week. Actually, Sunday of last week.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask a question. My question is, what exactly is that tipping point? Is it church or is it body shot?
Both. It is both. It's at church along with the body shot. Every morning I walk in and I walk into the office. The first thing that you see, and you should know because you've been there, you just probably forgot. When you first walk in, there's a mirror that sits right there on the wall as you walk in. A combination of that and just the combination of that with the body shame and church. That's what it is. That's what it is.
Have you done anything to actually help trigger your depression? Like when you go to church or you feel body shame when you look in the mirror. Have you done anything to actually trigger to help that situation?
Gee, I don't know. I really don't know. What do you mean?
Okay, so let's take this in perspective. Let's say that you go into church and you see that mirror, right? Did you actually sit? Well, I know you don't do this, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Do you actually sit, take a few minutes, sit at that mirror? This is what I do. Do you sit in the mirror and actually make goals of yourself to help with the body shape? Because I have actually felt the exact same way, but it hasn't really affected me a lot because I'm too busy worrying about being tired, wanting to take a nap. So I would actually sit in front of the mirror and actually write down my goals to actually help with body shape. Have you done it?
No. I look at the mirror and say, you fat slob, and keep it moving.
Or you brought out the negative in yourself. And you know what's funny? Because you were different when you started to lose that weight the first time. You was very different. And of course, you was young. But you still were different because despite going to school, working, everything and above, you still managed to lose weight. You still managed to go to school online, and you still managed to work. Do you think it's because of the massive overload that you're doing with the blogs and the podcasting, your own podcasting, and your other projects?
I'm not sure if it's massive overload, because these are things that I want to do. It's mainly just the body shame and not being proactive, just being tired all the time, just being in bed a lot of times when I know I need to get out of bed and do something. You know the one thing that I've not done, if you haven't noticed, that I was doing for a month and a half?
Yeah, I noticed. You wasn't walking. You haven't gone for your walk.
That too, but that's not what I was talking about.
That. No.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Yes, that's what I haven't done, but that's not the main thing I haven't done. There's something else that I have done for the last month and a half that I've not done.
What's that?
Drink water.
Oh, I stopped that too.
Yeah,
I only drink 32 ounces.
Yeah, I have not drank because I'm burnt out on drinking water. Because I've drank gallons of it a day. I would drink gallons of it a day for a month and a half. I'm like, if I have to look at one more gallon of water, I think I'm gonna take it and throw it in the grass. And then that's gonna depress me because the grass gonna grow. Then it makes it harder to cut. But part of the reason why I had stopped my walking is for one reason. You notice when I stopped doing my walking?
It's been a while since you stopped, so I really haven't paid attention.
When they first closed the street down. White River Parkway. That's when I stopped. Didn't like all that excess traffic that came through back and forth. Couldn't deal with it. Yeah, the Indigo buses coming through, you had school buses coming through, and you had just normal traffic flowing through. I just couldn't handle it.
It's semis.
Yep, it's semis. I couldn't handle it. And also, it's just been miserably hot as hell. It's just been hot. Am I going to start again? Yes. Because I really need to start walking again. Because I need to be able to get going with this.
About 5,000 writing prompts.
Yes. I have to. I have to get the creative flow going for more parts.
Yeah, that's a tough one because when you think about mental health, you do have to put yourself first. Mm-hmm. You do have to understand that some things are just going to have to be put to the side, and you got to focus on yourself. Even if that means that you have to take a break for a day or two, or taking a little longer term of a break, not necessarily that that necessary push of a break. But I personally believe that if you actually just put some of those things to the side and you actually focus on yourself, that if that means just taking 30 minutes to go work out, exercise, or whatever.
Well, here was my goal. My goal I wanted to do was do a week full of blogs and then rest for a week just to read. That's what I wanted to do. It ain't working out that way. Do I want it to work out that way? Yes, I do. Will I make it work that way? I can try. But I don't know. It's just been one of those difficult weeks, and I just had to share it. It's a mental health thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a mental health thing. You see, last week I ended up calling off this time last week. I had to focus on myself. I sat there, I played the game, stimulated my mind a little bit. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm pretty cool. And I started to accept the fact of who I am. Not because that I'm just a fat slob, which I am, because we weigh about the same anyway.
Right.
It's more the fact because, hey, at some point in my life, there's always going to be a change. There's always going to be some kind of change, rather it's a good change or rather it's a good change. You ever watched that episode of, I think you did. You ever watched that episode of Family Matters of when Laura was trying to do that, run that Black History program?
One of my biggest episodes I've seen, an episode that I actually cried. Yes, I did. I say that.
Yeah. I was going to recommend you watch that because I think that was important.
That was important.
That was important.
Yeah. I like what Estelle said. I like how she talked to Laura about it. I like how she used her story to say, you know, I went to the library and I would go to the library, but this was back in the segregation days. And it was to a point where I just could not go into this library. But she was so persistent that the guy finally let her in. And it's not the matter of giving up after somebody that beat you down. You have to keep doing it over and over and over in order for something to happen. And she, excuse me.
Ooh, watch.
And she ended up doing that by actually pursuing and continuing her run to make sure that, you know, some sort of Black history was done. It may not have been classes, but it was things that could be put up on poster boards and things of that nature. But that's how I feel it.
Yeah. Welcome to South End, huh?
He ain't even here.
What am I doing?
He did, but he's gone.
Oh, he just came in to see what you were doing and he left.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
That's why I was just looking for him. I thought he was behind my chair. He ain't. He ain't nowhere to be found. He probably heard you laughing.
Yeah, my door was shut.
Oh, my door's cracked. But yeah, Joe, that's all I have.
Okay. Well, I'm just gonna say.
If you don't have anything else.
Well, I was just gonna say this. I can understand what you're dealing with. I can understand that. But the only thing that I can say to you at this point, regardless to how you're feeling, is keep pushing. Put yourself first, but keep pushing. Because there's days that I actually want to quit my job. I actually want to just lay in bed all day. It comes time. And I've always have felt that way. But I know at the end of the day that when I keep pushing myself and when I give myself reasons to motivate myself and put myself first, things can change. Things can change. Yeah, things can change. Yeah. So just either you keep pushing, you focus on yourself. Keep pushing or focus on yourself. And that's all I can really give you at that point because I know how that is. Because I can't even apply things to my own self when I'm sitting up here giving these type of advices. I can't even follow it. So that's why I always try to give the best without me kind of not practicing what I preach.
Yeah.
So I'll just take it pushing. Because it's going to get better before it gets worse.
Right.
You just keep pushing yourself. Like I said, because I've asked you for the longest, to give some of that time up that you commit to the church. Because you've been doing it for a long time. You've been doing it for a long time. And I feel that right here, right now, when you just started speaking out on this, it's time. You need to give yourself a break and put yourself first. Because you're not going anywhere when you actually do go to church. Not saying that it's a bad thing, but you still have to put yourself first. You're not disappointing anybody. You're not disappointing God because He knows what you're dealing with right now. He knows that. You're trying to do all these things and you're still committing yourself. You still got to put yourself first. Don't quit, but still put yourself first.
Yeah, I've done church work every Sunday for a whole year and probably 3 months.
And you got that break in COVID.
Right, and that's what I was just about to say. I ended up getting that break in COVID for about 4 months. About 4 months. Mm-hmm. I got that break. And then after that,
you ain't stopped.
I have not stopped since then.
You haven't stopped. And you're doing this all by yourself. You gotta put yourself first.
Yeah,
I've asked for the longest to put yourself first.
You've been asking me that since 2019?
Yes. You have got to put yourself first.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. I'm already scheduled out for August, the rest of this month. I'm gonna do it for September.
Yeah, just take yourself some time off. because that could really change things. You could catch up on things. You could catch up with your book that you're doing. You could be catching up on blogs. You could be catching up on everything that you need to catch up on. But it's that Sunday that really takes up your time, especially when I work and you would have to drop me off and be doing visuals.
Right.
You know, give yourself that free space. Put yourself first. That's all I got to say.
I appreciate it. So I'm going to take that and run with it. So we'll be right back with the sports talk of our podcast. We'll be right back.